I never expected my life to change. Because of one question, asked in a glass-walled office on the 27th floor. She closed the door. Not hard, not soft, just deliberate. Then she looked at me. Not as my CEO, not as the woman who signed my paychecks, but as someone trying to read a secret. And she asked, "Are you single?" The room went quiet. Too quiet. I laughed awkwardly. Why?" She didn't smile. She didn't look away. She said, "I need an honest answer." That's when I realized this wasn't small talk. This wasn't HR. This wasn't harmless. So I took a breath and told her the truth. "No," I said, "I'm not single." Her shoulders relaxed, just for a second, until I added, "I've been married, and widowed, and raising a child alone." Her face changed. Not disappointment, not judgment, shock. She sat down slowly, like her legs forgot what to do. "I didn't know," she said. "Most people don't," I replied. "I don't talk about it at work." She nodded, then asked quietly, "How old is your child?" 7. Her hand tightened around her pen. And then she whispered something I never expected. "That's impossible." I frowned. "Why?" She stood up, walked to the window, and stared at the city below. "Because," she said, "I gave up a child 7 years ago." My heart stopped. She turned to face me. A baby boy, born the same month. Same hospital. The room tilted. Couldn't breathe. She continued, voice shaking, "I was young. The board didn't know. My family pushed me. I thought adoption was the only way." I swallowed hard. "My wife died during childbirth," I said. "The nurses told me the mother never made it." She covered her mouth. "No," she whispered. "I survived." The truth crashed between us like glass. She wasn't just my CEO. She was my son's mother. Tears streamed down her face. "I searched," she said, "but the records were sealed. I thought I'd never know." I sat down because my legs gave out. 7 years. 7 birthdays. 7 nights of lullabies and tears. She dropped to her knees in front of me and said, "Is he happy?" That question broke me. "Yes," I said. "He's kind. He loves dinosaurs. And he thinks his mom is a star in the sky." She sobbed. "I never wanted to disappear," she said. "I just didn't know how to stay." The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was sacred. She wiped her face, stood up, and straightened her blazer. CO mode switching back on. Then she said something that stunned me. "I'm not asking to take him away." I looked up. "I'm asking if one day I can earn the right to be in his life." I didn't answer immediately, because this wasn't about me anymore. It was about a little boy who deserved the truth, and maybe a second chance at a family. I finally said, "That decision won't be mine alone." She nodded. "I understand." Before I left, she added softly, "And for what it's worth, thank you for being the father I couldn't be." I paused at the door, and for the first time since my wife passed, since I learned what real loss feels like, I felt something else. Hope didn't tell my son that night. I stood in his doorway long after he fell asleep, watching his chest rise and fall, wondering how a single truth could change everything he knew about the world. The next morning, my phone buzzed. A message from her. Not my CEO. Not anymore. It read, "I won't push, but I can't disappear again." I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. "Neither can I." At work, everything looked normal, meetings, emails, deadlines, but the air between us was different, heavier. She avoided eye contact in public, but I felt her presence everywhere. Every hallway, every glass reflection. Every pause in conversation. Then HR called me in. My stomach dropped. The door closed. The same deliberate sound. But this time she wasn't alone. Legal was there. She cleared her throat and said, "This meeting is to protect you, not the company." That's when I knew this wasn't about policy. It was about him. She slid a folder across the table. Inside were hospital records, birth certificates, dates, times. Everything matched. No doubt left. Her voice cracked as she said, "I don't want custody. I don't want to disrupt his life." She looked directly at me. "I just want to know his favorite color." That question hurt more than anything. I answered quietly, "Green," like the dinosaur on his backpack. Her eyes filled with tears again. Then Legal spoke up. "If both parties agree, we can arrange supervised contact outside of work hours." She flinched. "Supervised," she repeated. "As long as he's safe." I nodded. That night, I sat beside my son as he drew on the floor. He looked up and said, "Dad, do moms ever come back from the stars?" My heart shattered. I swallowed hard. "Sometimes," I said, "if they find the right path." He smiled. "I hope mine does." I closed my eyes. Because tomorrow, everything was going to change. But I didn't know the first meeting would test me more than losing her once. The first meeting wasn't at a park. It wasn't at a cafe. It wasn't somewhere safe and ordinary. It was at a family counseling center. Neutral walls, soft chairs, tissue boxes everywhere. Like they already knew how this would end. My son sat next to me, legs swinging, clutching his green dinosaur. She arrived last. No power suit, no heels, just a sweater, nervous hands, and eyes already wet. She didn't rush him, didn't speak. She knelt down slowly and said, "Hi, I'm Emma." My son looked at me first. I nodded. He looked back at her and asked the question that froze the room. "Are you the lady from the stars?" She covered her mouth. "I used to be," she whispered, "but I'm trying to come home." Silence. The counselor gently asked if he wanted to talk or draw. My son handed Emma a crayon. "Draw a dinosaur," he said, "but make it friendly." She laughed through tears. As they drew together, I realized something terrifying. He wasn't confused. He wasn't scared. He was curious. Halfway through, he asked, "Why didn't you stay?" Emma's hands shook. She didn't lie. "Because I was afraid," she said. "And I made a choice I thought was best. But it hurt people I love." He thought for a moment, then said, "I get scared too." That broke her. She didn't touch him, didn't hug him. She just said, "I'll stay now, as long as you want me to." He nodded once. That was all. When the session ended, he ran ahead to the door. Emma stood behind me. "I don't deserve this," she said. I replied, "None of us deserve grace. That's why it matters." She looked at me, not as a CO, not as a mother, but as someone being forgiven. Outside, my son turned back and waved. Emma raised her hand, trembling, and in that small wave, a broken family took its first real breath. The email came at 6:12 a.m. No subject, just one line. "We need to talk about your situation." It wasn't from her. It was from the board. By the time I reached the office, the tension was everywhere. Conversations stopped when I walked past. Doors closed softly, too softly. She called me in before I could even sit down. Her face was calm, CO calm, but her eyes betrayed her. "They know," she said. My chest tightened. "How?" "HR paperwork. Legal notices." Someone connected the dots. She exhaled slowly. "They're questioning my judgment. And yours." A board member joined the call. cold voice, carefully chosen words. This relationship, he said, creates a conflict of interest. I wanted to speak. She raised her hand, stopping me. This is my responsibility, she said firmly. He has done nothing wrong. Silence. Then the line I feared. One of you will need to step back. I felt the room shrink. I'll resign, I said. Her head snapped toward me. No, she said sharply. I won't let you lose your livelihood because of my past. The board member paused. There is another option. My stomach dropped. A public statement, full transparency, or a private settlement with reassignment. Reassignment, a quiet exile. She looked at me, not as a CEO, as a mother choosing between power and truth. That night, I sat on my bed while my son slept beside me. He whispered, half asleep, "Dad, did I do something wrong?" That question destroyed me. I held him close. No, I said. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, and kids pay the price. The next morning, she walked into the boardroom alone. She stood tall and told them everything, not the corporate version, the human one. When she finished, the room was silent. Then she did the unthinkable. She removed her badge and placed it on the table. I choose my son, she said, even if it costs me this. Outside, my phone buzzed. One message. Whatever happens next, thank you for protecting him. I stared out the window because I knew this wasn't the end. It was the beginning of the hardest choice yet. What the board decided shocked everyone.